Hi, Samantha. I'm Juanita, and I'm a student social worker here at the Resource Center. Before we get started, I'd like to thank you for coming in today. Can I get you a glass of water?
No, thanks.
Okay. Did you have any questions for me before we get started?
Well, I'm just kind of worried about everything that I'm talking about today, so I just want to make sure that it's just going to be between me and you.
Well, our policy here at the Resource Center is we try and keep things as confidential as possible, but if you should disclose, some type of abuse, child abuse, or your intentions to harm yourself or anybody else, of course, we'd have to disclose that. And the information that you give to me today will be in a file here at the Resource Center, and at some point I may have to consult with my supervisor or manager. But in terms of absolute confidentiality, I can't guarantee that, but we will certainly do our best to keep the information you give to us today will not be disclosed unless one of those situations were to arise.
Okay.
So if you're ready, we can get started.
Okay, well, I'm actually really worried about my sister. She's been drinking a lot lately, and it's really stressing me out because she has 2 kids, and I'm always with her kids, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it.
Sounds like you're very worried about your sister.
Yeah.
So your sister has 2 kids, you said?
Yeah.
And she's drinking quite a bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you live with your sister?
No, she lives underneath me.
Okay. So just tell me a little bit about your sister's drinking, like when it started and...
Well, in high school she had her party days, but her and her boyfriend just broke up, so she's starting to drink. Like, she's drinking on the weekends, and she even drinks, like, during the weekdays. She tries to hide it from me, but I know that she's drinking.
Mm-hmm. I can see that you're very concerned about that. And how old are the kids?
3 and 5.
Okay. And just tell me a little bit about your involvement with your sister.
Well, we weren't really that close. She moved away for a little while, but she just moved back, and I let her live underneath me. And I offer to take care of her kids whenever I can, but it's just she's taking advantage of it.
Okay. And I see that you're, obviously knowing that there's 2 small kids involved.
Exactly.
It's reason for concern. So has your sister sought help at all?
No.
So it's just you're basically the one that's coming on her behalf?
Yeah, well, it's just because I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what steps to take.
Okay. So just tell me a little bit about the living arrangement in terms of, the children and your sister and her, her habits and things like that.
Well, she was in a really bad relationship with the kid's father, but he just recently went to jail, so they broke up. So she just lives there with her 2 kids. She was trying to find a job. She hasn't found a job yet. But they pretty much just live there, and I do whatever I can for them.
So it certainly doesn't sound like the ideal situation for 2 kids to be raised in.
No.
So what have you done in terms of working with your sister or speaking to your sister about the situation?
Well, I try to talk to her about it, but she just gets offended and feels like I'm calling her out. But she doesn't see that I'm actually concerned about her. She just thinks that I'm getting too involved in her life and that I should just back off and let her do what she wants to do.
So you've tried to talk to her,
yes,
and she gets pretty defensive about that and doesn't want your help other than looking after her kids.
Yes.
Okay. So just tell me a little bit about your family background in terms of, is there any other family supports, anybody that can help you?
Well, our parents live an hour and a half away, so my mom tries to come in when she can, but we don't see them very often.
Okay, and are the kids in school?
Well, the 5-year-old's in school. The 3-year-old was in daycare, but she's not anymore because she can't afford it anymore.
Well, I can see why. I guess a lot of her money probably goes to drinking.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. What about your background? Are you in school? Do you work? How's it affecting your life? Explain to me how. I understand that, nobody wants to see their sibling or any family member involved in alcohol or any type of drug addiction or anything like that, especially when there's kids involved. But how is it impacting your life?
Well, I work full time, so, I mean, like, whenever I'm off, I usually have the kids, and sometimes she even calls me at work, like, to come home early, or no, we're going to be picked up, and she doesn't have anyone to pick them up, so then I end up having to leave work and go get them and then go back to work.
So it sounds like she counts on you a lot and puts a lot of pressure on you.
Yes.
So basically, your sister's living in your basement apartment or downstairs from your house. You have a full-time job. She has 2 small kids, and her drinking now is starting to affect her caring for her kids, and it seems like it's starting to lead into affecting your relationship with your sister. So does she doesn't work at all? What does she do for finances?
She did work at a hair salon, but she's on social assistance right now.
And has there been any social work intervention or anything up to this point?
No.
And is that something that you've thought about, or are you hoping it doesn't come to that stage?
Well, I'm hoping it doesn't come to that stage, because, I mean, it's my niece and nephew, so.
And obviously it's putting a lot of pressure on you, which is very sad.
Yes.
I'm just wondering in terms of obviously when she went to apply for some type of assistance financially, there would have been some intake process that she would have had to go through, but nobody's aware of her situation in terms of obviously they know she's a single mother with 2 kids, but there's no other awareness from anybody else that she's drinking.
No. So she tries to hide it from everybody. She goes out on the weekends, and that's fine. I mean, everyone can go out on the weekends and have a beer, but she's doing it on the weekdays too. But she's hiding it.
Have you seen any? Do you feel the kids are being neglected?
Not really. I mean, she does what she has to do for her kids, and then she won't put alcohol before her kids or anything, but it just isn't an environment that they should be growing up in.
So you're just concerned that if this continues, the situation's just going to get worse.
Yes.
And I can see how you would be worried about that. I mean, the kids are so young. And how old is your sister?
She's 25.
Okay. So, it's a worry there that if she continues to drink, that the situation's only going to get worse. Have the kids ever seen her drink or, be in a drunken state?
Yes.
And that's worrisome as well, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants any child to be growing up in that situation. So what is it you hope to do? What would you like to see happen eventually?
Well, I guess I just want to get across to her that I care without arguing with her. I want her to know how concerned I am, and I want her to get help.
And have you talked to her about that, getting help?
No. I haven't had the chance, but she just freaks out every time I bring anything up.
So it's not something, do you think she wouldn't be open to it, or you just feel that if you were to even approach the subject, she'd get very angry?
Yes.
She doesn't want to talk about the fact that she drinks. She thinks what she's doing is okay.
Yes, because she's in denial.
So I guess the thing is that, you're concerned about your sister, and rightly so. She's only young, and she has 2 small kids. And you feel that the situation's only going to get worse, and therefore it's putting pressure on you to look after the kids, because if she should call, you feel that you need to be there for the children just in case she is drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that must be very difficult for you, obviously. Mm-hmm. Do you have any other brothers and sisters?
No.
So it's just the 2 of you, so she counts on you quite a bit.
Yes.
So I can see where it would put you in a situation where you feel that if she calls that you should really go to help her.
Yes. And it's mainly for the kids too.
Yes, and they depend on you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So their dad is not in the picture at all.
He just went to jail.
Oh, okay, and that's worrisome as well, I'm sure. Do the children, are they aware of any of that? To the extent of that?
No.
Okay, well that's a good thing, I suppose, to keep it, from them as much as possible. So maybe, if you were to try and approach, have you done any research or checked into any programs or interventions like Alcohol Anonymous or anything like that you could suggest to your sister? Do you think that's something she'd be open to?
Well, I guess I could try. I never really thought about taking that route, but that could be beneficial.
Because if she were to, if you were to introduce that program to her, and, maybe even if she just went to a couple of meetings, it would help her realize, and could be an eye-opening experience for her to see exactly what's going on, see if there's other people that are going through the same things. Then she could take the steps to try, and make things better with your support, but then it wouldn't be totally on your shoulders, which would make it a little bit easier for you. So I can certainly understand, where you're coming from in terms of the pressure you must feel knowing that your sister is, you know, drinking, and then what if she comes home and the two kids are there, and it has to be quite worrisome, I'm sure. So is there anything else you'd like to tell me about the situation?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, you know, I thank you for coming in today.